This is Drop Tent Media Network.
My college ex, another sequel, she cheated on me extensively and we still ended up back together.
Oh.
So that's how cool I am. I've got it together. But so like I think I found out about the cheating. We were like on and off after that. And at one point she was at my parents' house with me and it was my mom and her alone in the kitchen. My mom's like, "So are you guys back together or just fucking?"
Oh my God.
We're dating.
We're dating.
We're dating.
Welcome to another episode of We're Dating. I am Alejandro.
I'm Rachel. And then today we have very funny comedian, adopted John
Wow.
Deary.
Jesus.
Yeah, really.
John Deary, everybody.
Philadelphia comedian John Deary.
First thing I said.
You'll love him. You see him everywhere. He's adopted.
I thought there could be like a big dramatic reveal at some point.
We had the violins ready in the next room.
Yeah, it's not what you think. It's a mariachi band.
Here is the 63-year-old woman you slept with.
Also your mom.
Oh my God.
Have
This
you ever?
immediately gotten derailed.
This is like when openers or like hosts bring me on stage. He's adopted. It's like, all right, there goes all that.
Okay, yeah.
I thought I could maybe
Well,
do
you
it.
could
Rachel.
have, well, what were you going to say? We're going to be like, what's up? When was it?
Someone smoked weed before the show. It was me. What is your excuse?
I'm just unhinged. I don't know.
Well,
I'm PMSing.
speaking of unhinged and PMSing,
We're talking about sequels.
Yeah,
Does that all
let's do that. Yeah, all the time. Say the same thing. I think that'll never get old. Sequels, yes. Hmm?
Sequels.
Yes, and sequels we're referring to exes, people you've maybe dated twice.
Recycled in some manner.
Recycled in some manner. Whether people you slept with twice, gave it like a nice little go around, whether or not you've dated somebody twice, whether or not would a friend that you eventually slept with count as a sequel?
That's more of a reimagining. Right?
Yeah. It's like
Or
when
a
you did.
spin-off? No, that's a spin-off.
It's a spin-off. Yeah.
I like that. I like spin-off.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was somebody that I dated and then I ended up sleeping with his roommate 10 years later.
That's a spin-off.
I don't know about spin-off. Maybe Jump the Shark. That's a Jump the Shark. Like, oh, shit. This is like a steady
Wow,
thing.
this is
Just
getting
a
kind of
desperate stab at
Now,
something.
yeah. It's a new show now.
Anyway, John Deary, we called you here because we know you've had a sequel. Also, yeah.
So Rachel told me the theme.
Yeah.
And originally I was like, oh, our episode's being broken into 2 parts. It'll be a sequel. No, that's not what it is. And then I realized sequels. I'm like, Rachel, that's all of my relationships.
Have you gotten back together with everybody that you've ever dated?
I have dated multiple people twice.
Wow.
I have ended up dating people again, crawled back to people, had like those, I don't know, I can't remember the term for it, just when you hook up with someone you've broken up with again.
I love that. That's my favorite.
That's because
it depends when it was like a really toxic, terrible relationship and you shouldn't have done that.
but I think that's when it's the most fun. Literally
It was
the worst idea.
Great.
And
But it was
Yes.
irresponsible.
Ooh, irresponsible how?
Just ending up hooking up with like the worst person you've ever done.
Yeah.
Are we thinking about the same person?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
This is a different scene.
I have a history, like I said, I have a history of ending up
A
back
checkered past.
Are you just like really good in bed and that's why girls are like,
Obviously I'm really good in bed, but No,
Right into the
like-
microphone.
at the camera.
Fantastic.
No, I don't know. I just end up in the same situations again, over and over again. This is not someone I dated more than once, but there was once someone I went on a few dates. It was going well, and they ended things with me, and I was like, it's, whatever, it's cool, what happens. And then she was like, you handled being broken up with so well that we did end up hooking up more.
Wow. See?
That's honestly superpower. And a lot of men don't know that if you take it well, that there's like honestly a 50% chance that you're going to get it again.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think there's one person that I would hook up with again that I haven't had a sequel with, but I've thought about it because I've run into him in the wild a couple times. And every time I see him, I just go, oh, you do look good. You do look really good. But then I know it would be a bad idea.
Yes.
Yeah. But then
you forget about like the bad stuff.
I forget about them having feelings.
I can fix whatever it was.
Oh God. Because the dude that I'm talking about, when we had sex, it looked like he was a dog bounding after a ball. He was really happy.
A lot of drool involved.
It wasn't just drool. It was that he was so happy. And I didn't, it was a lot of this. And he also didn't, he had a weak chin.
Oh.
And so it was just one of those things where it all, and his favorite drink was milk. It all piled up together.
Wow. Yeah.
That afterwards I was like, no. And then like, he told me that he had kissed somebody else at a wedding he went to.
Oh.
And I used it. And I was like, I can't see you anymore. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, is it because of the wedding kiss? And I was like, yep. Exactly.
Was it really because of the milk?
It was really because of everything, every part of it.
Sure.
I'm also not convinced you're talking about a man because you're like the elaborate dog thing, weak chin, glass of milk. Like I was like, I think this was a pet.
Oh, gross.
No, I don't think. Who wouldn't take a pet?
Wow, you're saying that. Never mind.
Don't
condone bestiality.
So wait, I want to mention like my first sequel. I think this is the first sequel that has ever happened to me. And this is I had gone out with this guy in upstate New York who was a raver. Oh, he was a guy who he managed Spencer's Gifts, and then he got fired for stealing South Park plushies. No, Nightmare Before Christmas plushies. Anyway, so we broke up because I caught him making out with our ride at a New York City club once. And so 7 months later, it was my birthday, and he hit me up to hang out, and he gave me a beeger because it was my birthday, and he cheated.
You off.
He cheated on the guy that he had cheated with on me. The guy that I'd caught him making out with on the dance floor is the guy that I cucked 7 months later.
How did you feel? Did you feel powerful?
I felt fucking great, man. I was like, it's my birthday. I'm getting a beeger. It's at the expense of this asshole who stole my man.
Fuck you. I'm getting a beach.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm just repeating.
That was the best birthday ever.
It's just a checklist.
And I think that was sequel number 1. I think it was the first time ever.
Did anything messy happen afterwards, or was this just like
no? This
was like Dumb and Dumber and then Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah, basically, it was just like a last hurrah. I'd been through so much stuff with that guy. Like we lived together in a trailer. He'd gotten himself addicted to heroin, ruined all our spoons.
Oh my God.
So yeah, we'd already been through it so much. I was like 20 at the time. Yeah, I was like 19 or 20. Are you kidding me? Living on my own in a trailer with bellhops and
and then your fucking heroin addict boyfriend.
Yeah.
Thick penis.
So I went back for seconds. And that probably was pretty toxic.
Is it like a thing where it's like when you go back to somebody, it's because you always feel like I could fix it if this one thing was different, if this one thing was maybe changed? Because I know that with I've had I've had sequels that were just sexual where it's been like an ex and we've hooked up again. And I've had sequels where I went back to somebody. I once dated somebody over 6 months. We broke up and got back together 3 times.
Oh,
every 2 months. You guys know them.
Damn.
And like, it was just a thing where like every time we got back together, I was just like, clearly it was a mistake on my part. And, like we are working through this. It's going to happen. And I think it just took me actually like being like, no.
Wow.
His bad behavior is not a reason for you guys to get back together. And the sex wasn't good. But yeah, this is the smallest man I've ever been with.
Jesus.
Not talking about a penis.
Not talking about a penis. I mean short. He was like 5'2".
I thought it was going to be about his character.
Honestly, yes. His character was of a very small man. He was small-hearted. And it was bad. I would just get like bullied back into submission. It wasn't a great revamp. But then when I came back out, we officially broke up. I came out swinging, and it wasn't the best look for me. But it did stick that time.
Okay, well, that's good. Closure.
Yeah, and apparently you should know the words you're using when you're threatening someone. Because
Jesus.
threatened to garrote him.
I remember this. I
did
remember
not
this
know what garrote meant.
in the Philly comedy.
And then somebody told me, they were like, Rachel, it's bad. And
You
I
really
was,
didn't know what a garrote. I'm going to garrote you, not knowing that means to strangle to death with a wire.
I did not know.
I like that was happening enough that they needed a specific word just for that.
Yeah.
You know, I will say it was funny.
Yeah, years later, many people have been like, just so you know, it was hilarious. But we did have to take it seriously at the time.
Well, so that was a point where I was running a big deal open mic in Philly, and we had just recently banned like 2 people.
Yeah.
And that person in your situation was ready to use that, like, oh, I got Rachel banned from this mic, and like that voicemail was given to me. They're like, what are you going to do about this? And I was like, nothing. This is great. I don't give a shit. Why are you so scared of a little tiny woman?
Oh my
I'm
God.
3 inches taller than I am. I wasn't so
Fair
tiny
point.
in his eyes.
Yeah, I was like, what are we
Oh
going
my
to ban
God.
everyone that people are upset with? I'm tired of this.
If we
Oh my
cuddled,
God.
his feet were always behind my knees. but and then the other sequels, one was just really good sex, I think like a handful of times. And then another, it's a handful. This is the sex. And it's just like,
that's how she would hold it up.
I want anyone to describe sex
handful.
with me like this.
and then the other one was 10 years later we hooked up.
Wow.
Okay.
And it was more nice to catch up. The sex almost didn't need to happen. It was just like, how's it
Oh, just
going?
a little cherry on top.
Yeah, no, it was more of like the reminder. I was like, why didn't this work out? And then we had sex, and I was like, oh, okay. So what was,
Do you have anything, Deary, from like the distant past that like resurfaced?
oh yeah,
Nothing that resurfaced presently, but like it's been a trend. Like my high school girlfriend, Molly, if you're no, she's my high school girlfriend Molly and I dated twice, where we
Wow.
dated for a couple of months, and it was like wasn't really anything. I wasn't any good at it, and it fizzled out. And then we like stayed friends, and we went to like a dance together, and then that really kindled. And we dated for like a year and a half from there.
Wow.
So it was like, all right, dated for a couple months unsuccessfully, and then redated. Sorry, it's not funny.
no,
It's just nice.
Endearing.
Honestly, my high school girlfriend, probably the healthiest, coolest relationship I've ever been in.
Nice.
So that's pretty good.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You came out of the gate,
Yeah.
fucking knocking it out, and that's why you had to go down.
Yeah. And then I
Well,
was
hold on. Your most recent ex. Did you guys ever break up and get back together? It was a one.
So realistically, this was probably the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. It
Yeah.
was good. But yeah, we broke up. We didn't get back together. There's still time if you're listening. Please, please go back. No, I did extend the invitation at one point. So, but he was smart enough to be like, no.
No, I think when the older you get, the more you realize that you shouldn't hook up with exes. You should hook up with people you used to hook up with.
Yeah. That's the move.
Don't hook up with somebody you used to date because there's too many feelings involved. Like, but I would definitely go back for seconds.
Sure, yeah. Oh, there's a lot of seconds I'd go back for. Minutes even.
Yeah,
But
that's a moment looking right in the camera. Please, all of you,
Yeah.
all of you have a chance again. I'm a big sequel guy.
Anybody who slept with me once, you got a coupon.
Bring it back.
Except the 2 of you, you know who you are.
Okay, wait, but I was asking you about your most. We're not going to use names because but we're going to use many clues.
I dated a
everybody.
comedian
You dated a comedian.
on and off for 3 years.
Wow.
And that's a trilogy. That's what is it? A cycle? I think with
Cycle
books,
implies
cycle.
toxicity.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't ideal.
Okay.
A lot of on and off with a comic. And when you're saying like, oh, why did I end up? It made me realize every time whenever we break up, I should have written some things down because then we'd end up back together.
Oh,
And like, maybe this is it. And then the same stuff would happen. I was like, if I had written this down, I would have known this was all going to happen. And I wish I would have kept a journal or something.
What was the same stuff?
Rachel.
I know. This is
Just a significant personality clash. I think.
okay.
So
Yeah.
she and I were friends before we ever dated. We were dating other people when we met. And I just remember there's an attraction, a flirtation in your friendship, and then venting about our relationships to each other and having the same problems in our relationship, but being the opposite person.
Oh my God.
So she's like, me and my boyfriend never fuck. And I'm like, my girlfriend says we never fuck. Like, even before anything happened, I was like, there's no way we're compatible.
Oh my God. I feel like though too, that's the thing that I've been like training myself out of is like when I just have something in common with somebody and me immediately being like, of course we're going to be together. We both love comedy. And it's like, that's not it. And that's like the thing with like dating comics. That's because, you know, like it's sometimes when you're together late at night, you're always like getting drunk together. It's an inevitability. But like I had to like train myself out of thinking that the one small thing I had in common with someone was enough to build an entire lie around. and then eventually you go like, okay, like, yes, we both love comedy, but then like, do you know anything about where they're from? Like, do you know?
I love that you didn't have the raw materials to create a lie. I was really just trying to build on scraps there. Like,
I just, putting it in the pot and just like hoping I get like a fucking souffle and I just
Rock
get
soup.
like a roux. You can't make a relationship with a roux.
With a ruse, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I feel like with every like little flirtation I've had, whether it be like at work or whether it be through comedy or whether it be through, I don't know what other interests I have. They're not many. But like you find somebody and you're just like, I have these 3 things in common. And so we're going to be together forever. And no, it's not necessarily.
It's never been the way for me. I'm very much opposites attract. Like I'm attracted to people who I do not have things in common with to begin with. For the most part. Yeah. Like my last boyfriend, we met at Woody's. We were cruising. Oh, I was cruising. He was cruising. He made eye contact.
I was about to say, you were both cruising. And
Okay, we had that in
into
common,
each
yeah.
other.
And we made eye contact and I went up to where he was at the bar and I offered to buy him a drink and he said no. But that was the beginning of a wonderful flirtation in a 2.5-year relationship. But it was like, yeah, because he was a little mean, and like we just always fought, and like I fucking love that. I love that.
Wait, hold on. When it comes to like meanness, do you like a toyish mean, for lack of a better term?
Well, it's not like I don't like being abused and insulted. No, it's about they're paying
not
attention.
Outside of the bedroom.
Sploosh, 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 sploosh. It's about being challenged. It's when somebody just wants to sort of match wits with you. I like that.
Oh,
I like someone who's paying close enough attention to you that they catch on to your little foibles and your little ways and they can kind of pick on it. They can kind of call you on your bullshit, because they know you well enough. So it's not this sort of like thing of like, just random, like, hey, you're an asshole. You suck. Like it's,
you fucking suck.
As we got to know each other, my ex would just, he built me up by tearing me down. He just helped me realize what my bullshit was because he pointed it out all the time.
Oh God, that's that surface level thing too. Because like when you fucking roast somebody else and then all of a sudden like it turns into just like real criticism. Yeah. It's like, no, this is not fun.
So yeah, ultimately that's what tore us apart was the same thing that brought us together, which was like, it was a very passionate clash of the minds. But he taught me so much. He taught me how to be a clean adult who can take care of myself. I was such a slob when I met him. I was in my late 20s and I thought that being like disgusting was like a way to express masculinity. And I was obsessed with being manly and being perceived as manly and people not thinking I was gay right away. So I was a disgusting, unshowered hipster.
So hot. I'm sorry. I got.
Isn't this the plot of Pygmalion?
I don't know what that is. What is Pygmalion?
My Fair Lady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Whipping you into shape and making you a proper man.
Yeah, I got rid of my Cockney accent.
The rain is painful, my new place.
But I've never had a sequel with him.
Oh.
But we're still good friends. We texted a little bit today.
Oh my God. Were you just like, just so you know?
I was just thinking about him.
Oh.
So I just said, hey, what's going on?
He's listening right now.
I was going to say, you guys are about to sequel.
Do I want to what?
I want to put the invite out there.
The invite. Oh, no.
Sequel.
We can never go back. We can never go back for the sequel. I mean, it was never based in like, sex definitely was not a big part of it. We in the last year of our relationship, we didn't have sex once. It was a year of sexless. Yeah, well, we became like roommates or like brothers or family member, cousins.
As someone who ends up sexless in all my relationships, it's too long.
A year is a long time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And how do you ignore that? And to go a year and not. I mean, I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to talk about it.
Right. I mean, so it's like such a taboo thing because you kind of want to be like, we should fuck more, but then also it's like.
Then you have to talk about why you haven't had sex.
Yes, it becomes a deeper.
And exactly. That's a fucking can of worms. I opened a can of worms like it was a butthole, but I meant.
Don't like a butthole.
There could be worms in there.
I wanted to open a can of worms and it's like this
yeah.
prank snakes. That's what it is instead.
I love the idea that that's my emotional baggage. It's just like plastic snake.
It's like you want to take yourself seriously, but you also want to have a joke. Oh,
Too real.
Too real.
But,
Yeah.
But what about let's lighten things up. What about like just repeated, like you hooked up, you had a sexy time once, and then you went back for seconds, like after? Is that something that you've also done? Have you ever?
I really want to with somebody right now. I really want to. There's this dude I hooked up with almost a year ago. We only hooked up once. We've gone on a couple dates since. And we argue really well.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where, like, how you talked about just, your one ex where it's like the criticism became too much and it wasn't like friendly. Like He's someday I can see it turning there. But he's a regular at my bar. So I don't know him through work or through comedy. He's got a sexy mustache. And everybody calls him arrogant, but there's something about his arrogance. Like he's really like verbose. He's got like an excellent vocabulary. And we just trade barbs, but he's not like funny in a way that we're funny. He's funny in a way that only I find funny.
Oh, okay.
And he's literally described as arrogant, kind of a prick. Like for some reason, I'm just like so hot. And we hooked up once and he's stocky. He's like this like Moldovan guy. And we haven't hooked up again. And like after the date that we went on, I had a really good time. We watched the debates. We were like arguing because I am like Christian fascists are trying to take over the country. And he's just like, you can't call them Christian fascists.
Oh God.
I know. But it's like, I'm like, oh, I'll go toe to toe with you. Anyway, long story short, I want to have a sequel right now. After the most recent disappointing sequel that I had, that was just sort of like slightly unfulfilling. And there's a sequel that I consistently, what is it when you travel to fuck somebody again?
Kissing cousins? No.
I know, it's not my cousin.
That's a very specific place you have to travel to.
No, he's a dude that lives in DC. And when I go down to DC, we fuck.
I don't think it's not paratrooping. Paratrooping is when you find someone to fuck so you have a place to stay. I don't know if that would be the same.
Heard that.
I like that though. I think it is kind of a paratrooper because my dad is like lovely, but he's also like, sometimes I need some time away from him. And I know that if I was in DC and I was just like, could I spend the night? He'd let me.
There you go. It's a paratrooping.
Wow.
Paratrooping. Yeah, I'm paratrooping. But anyway, yeah. Have you ever sequeled with just a hookup?
Nothing notable. I have hooked up with people.
You have
like,
people that have
twice.
reached out to you to double up because you fucked on a cruise.
She found the end. She found it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm part of Awful Wrestling. Rachel and I did an Awful Wrestling cruise this year.
Yeah.
And I fucked on the cruise.
Yeah. That's
cool.
Yeah, you fucked on a boat.
The last night, I feel like any single people were like, I'm fucking on this cruise. Like if I didn't fuck on this, that's what's happening. So it was just in the air. So I was like, I think I'm going to take my shot tonight. I hooked up with someone on the cruise. We are Instagram friends. We exchange messages.
Yeah.
She was going to visit Philly. It could have happened again. She didn't end up visiting. But,
okay.
I mean, we're friendly on social media. So, that could be a sequel if it ever.
That could be. Okay.
If you're listening.
Like she definitely knew me for sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you've got an up and coming sequel.
Sorry, the story is not more exciting. I fucked a few months ago.
Well, where did you fuck? Okay. No. Walk us through. Walk us through. Give us the scene. Set the scene.
So we had like crossed paths a bunch of times during the cruise, and finally she came to our Awful Wrestling shows. She was really cool. And the last night, our groups of friends were, hanging out, or she was with our group of friends. I think her friend dipped early, but we both were sharing a room, and both of our roommates were in our rooms asleep. So we're like, oh, where should we go? So we just like wandered around the ship. We found a place where like a bunch of other people were all making out. Like it felt like
was it the up top
upper top deck? Yeah,
where the helipad.
It was like
a makeout point.
Like a high school prom, and everyone just went there to finger each other and make out. We were like, we don't want more privacy than this. And then She's like, let me go ask my roommate if she'll fuck off for a bit. So she goes down to her room. Her roommate's not having it. My roommate, a guest on this podcast, was firmly asleep.
I love that.
And I was like, I don't want to bother him. I was like, we can go on the deck.
Okay.
So what on the balcony?
And we went on the balcony of our room, like snuck her through my room.
Wait,
We went
were
on
you
the
guys,
balcony.
were you against the little panes that separated the balcony, or were you on the railing? Fucking against the railing?
The railing, the floor, a chair. You know, we
Wow.
used everything we had at our disposal.
Yeah, filmed a whole
I need
porno
to,
back
I
there.
need to,
Jeez.
to call you out, because you don't ever say that you are like the sexual being we all know you are.
I'm not a sexual being. I've had sex. I wouldn't consider myself a sexual being.
You, every single woman I cross paths with that I see you chatting with, I'm always just like, oh, who's that? And you're just like, oh, girl I dated. Anytime I see you like hanging out with a girl, oh, is she a new comic? No, this is a chick I'm dating. You're fucking on cruises. You are a sexual being. You are an attractive, a hot little piece that fucks on floors and chairs and against railings. And I'm
On a
sick of
cruise
this.
once.
On a cruise once. And I'm sick of this. You're like, oh, I have sex once a month. It's not
I have sex
enough.
once a month, maybe. I don't
Do you
think
know
that's
how
like.
many men don't have sex once a month?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Let's poll the audience.
Yeah.
Let's put a poll out
If
there.
we've had sex and then within the last month
I don't know
and
how much
identify
sex is
as
a single
male.
guy. How much sex is a single guy in his 30s supposed to have? Right? I feel like it should be more than once a month.
They're supposed to have.
I don't think it's more than once a month. I
I
think
mean, even people in relationships, like once a week is a lot. So, like, wouldn't you extrapolate that single people should be having less, right? Like,
yeah.
less than once a week. So I would say maybe a couple times a month is a lot for a single person who's not seeing anybody.
Yeah. And I feel like once a month is, if not average, slightly above average.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just feel like I'm not doing great. I feel like I don't have that much, as much game as you're giving me credit for. I don't have that.
I'm
And
sorry.
it's
You have game. I've seen it.
you've seen. All right.
I've seen it. But also mostly because, like, so towards the end of my last long relationship, one of the many signs that it was winding down was we were only fucking for 1 week out of the month. And it wasn't like we were fucking every day. It was like over the course of that week, we fucked like twice, then we wouldn't fuck for the entire month. And I know exactly why. It's like, it was biological. I was like in my like ovulation phase.
Oh.
And it's like, because we were very physically attracted to each other. We had good physical chemistry, but it was like one of those things where I could tell he was not interested in me, which hurt my feelings.
Oh.
But like, yeah. And it was even in a relationship, I was only doing it twice a month. And this most recent bout of being single, after I ended things that I was seeing with the person I was seeing, once a month, maybe less. I'm going to say less. No, about once a month. We're rocking the same stats, brother. We're rocking the same stats. But you had a thing recently.
Yeah. I ran into an old coworker of mine Friday night at the bars. It was kind of cool because I was out with like one gay friend of mine, and then we ran into another gay friend of mine, and then we ran into my old coworker, and then we ran into another, and then so there was like five of us hanging out in the neighborhood, going to bars. Like, that was great because I hate going to the gay bars alone. It's just like very like nerve wracking.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and my old coworker, we've fallen into bed, I don't know, 3 or 4 times over the course of the 2010s. And now he lives across the country in California, and he's married to a man, and they're open. So it was nice. This is like the best one yet because like there was no pressure about like, oh, what are we doing? You know, it's like we're doing what we just did.
We're doing what we do well.
Yeah. Nice little blast from the past. Like it was always a good slap and tickle, you know?
What are the terms? Falling into bed, slapping tickle.
I'm just keeping up, the gay linguistics.
Oh, your
tickle.
people's terminology.
Yeah, I was gonna say kissing cousins, I think, is what gay people say when they have a hookup buddy in a different city.
Oh, okay.
I feel like you said he was in from another city.
Yeah. So I guess we're kissing cousins now. Yeah.
I like this really this pre-established when you know someone's from out of town. You're like, no stakes at all. I think that's what happened on the cruise too. We're just like, we both know we'll never see each other again, probably.
Oh yeah.
It's just like everyone knows what this is. It's nice.
That's what I love being about being in a different city is like I get to be new meat, you know?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. There is something really nice about it. It's like because the only real other city I travel to consistently is my hometown.
Mhm.
And that's a very odd dichotomy because I'm just like, oh, my wholesome little hometown where, I will walk around where I was once 4 and 5 years old. And then I'm like having sex and I'm just like thinking about, because the guy I hook up with lives across the street from my first job.
Wow.
And I was like 14 working at the JCC in the daycare, just looking across, like remembering the children.
God. That's amazing.
We need more clapping for sex and just.
No, I was.
That wasn't your cheeks. That was.
No, that was my cheeks.
That was-
That was my cheeks.
Well, but we can loop that cheek clap every time we're talking about sex. I think it'll really help the pod.
Yeah.
Save it for every episode.
We do need more sound effects.
Oh yeah, for sure. Little trombone slides.
What are those whistles?
Womp,
Ooh.
womp. Slide whistle. Yeah.
Anytime I'm talking about doing it. Yeah, because my parents watch this. And like my dad has started
cool.
liking like
Oh, great.
I don't like the things on my Instagram that my parents like. I don't like it. It'll be like about, I had one about the threesome one. My parents liked it. I think there was one that my mom commented, "That's my girl." And I was like, no.
So supportive.
I want to talk about more stuff then because I think my mom will listen to this.
Do you think your mom will listen to
To
this?
know the real me.
Wait, did you raw dog it then when you were on the cruise?
No, I did come prepared.
Yay. Good for you. Like a Boy Scout.
Condoms on the plane and everything.
Okay.
And how many did you bring?
2 to 4. I don't think I went too many.
No, okay, good. You were like, possibly one a night.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Usually 2 a session. So that's 2 fucks.
Wow.
That's pretty great.
That
It's
is pretty
polite to
great.
change after a little bit.
I also agree with that because things dry out.
Yeah.
You want to bring a twofer.
Take a breather,
Yeah.
Also, there's something that kind of kills the mood for me personally. If like I don't have a second condom, but lube is involved, and then you get that little fart sound when there's air in the tube, kind of kills the momentum.
You know what
for
kills the mood?
What?
The condom. Sorry, I had to stop talking like that. I no, that's not true. I'm so sorry.
Being responsible
Oh,
kills the
God.
mood. Is that what you're saying, Alejandro?
I'm sorry.
Doing the right thing.
No, it doesn't. It can be very sexy to do
I'm
the.
sorry. Gay people have gotten so arrogant now that we have PrEP.
You don't have to worry about it.
Well, you can get lots of stuff that's not HIV. Anyway, you know what? We
can.
don't.
That's
She can't get a
true.
baby, so that's probably half the
No.
who cares? What are we gonna get pregnant?
No. jelly babies don't live.
Jelly baby.
I'm learning so much.
Wait, what is the jelly? Yeah, talk.
Oh, it's just a cum that is in your butthole.
Oh,
It's like nodding.
I'm very aware. Very aware. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So is
No, you keep going.
is a poop just a poop baby?
Well, we've arrived.
We don't need to talk about this. It's a huge part of my stuff.
Well,
I don't need to talk about my ass.
can jelly babies be applicable to any cum that comes out of any orifice?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Because I'm rocking 7 years deep with an IUD, and when I
wow.
find myself in a consistent thing, I lose the. I don't like now. I'm just
She
talking
gets a lot of
about-
jelly babies.
Oh my
I get a
gosh.
couple jelly babies. Oh no, my dad
No,
watches.
you get up and
I
you
don't know.
because you get up and you have to pee.
Yes, and I always pee.
But that's
I
the jelly
always
baby.
pee
because if
because
you
my
don't,
mom.
you get the
That's how my mom.
infection. What's it called?
UTI.
Yeah.
That's how my mom knew I was having sex because I remember I never got a UTI my entire life. Then all of a sudden I had sex for the first time. I started getting UTIs, and my mom just went, "I don't know what you're doing, and I don't tell me when you're comfortable. But if you're doing what I think you're doing, you need to pee afterwards." I was just like, oh, okay.
Oh, that wisdom.
Just so you know, I'm not doing it. Like, my mom had to confront me about my virginity loss
Wow.
because I wasn't going to tell her. I remember when I asked her about getting on birth control, I used my friend a lot. I was like, well, my friend's having sex and she got on birth control and she said it's good for her period. Should I get on birth control? And she's like, well, is your friend having protected. I don't know why. It depends on the way I'm talking about my mom. She's either Samantha from Sex and the City or like an old Jewish New York woman.
That's why she was a Jewish woman.
Because you know what? Because that's the person I want talking to me about sex. My high school health sex ed teacher was this woman named Miss Burke, and she was this older Jewish lady from New York, and she was always like, kids, you gotta have, now she's Trump. Kids, you have to wear a condom. We're gonna try. Here's a banana, here's a condom. And it just made me feel so comfortable, so safe. And I was like, thanks, Miss Burke. Yeah, I want to talk about sex. Let's do it. But
did you get any helpful? I never got any helpful tips from my parents either way. I went in completely blind on sex.
I was so.
I mean, what are my parents going to teach me about gay sex?
Yeah, probably different demo for you. My parents were not very helpful. My mom really wanted me to have condoms at a young age.
Okay.
The story that
she's just throwing them at you.
I'm 14. I think maybe when I had my first girlfriend, who I never had sex with. I didn't have sex for years until then. After that, but I had my first girlfriend. My mom went out to the store to buy me condoms.
Wow.
And bumped into my grandmother at the store.
Oh,
so she like just threw them, So that never happened. And my dad, his sex talk was he dropped my high school girlfriend off. I'm like 16 at this point, and he drops her off, and he's like, "Hey," I know you guys are hanging out of the house when I'm not home. Just make sure you use a parachute. I don't think I knew what he was talking about.
Just make sure you use the
parachute.
Talking and looking euphemisms.
Yeah, that was the sex talk.
He meant the pull-out method.
Yeah, no, my mom, very forthright, very sexually progressive. Too much so sometimes, and sometimes the perfect amount. My mom was a nice balance to my dad, who never asked questions or explained things, would just make statements. My dad was like, before I went to college, he didn't say anything about sex ever. We didn't talk about it, but he just went, "Are you on birth control?" And I went, "Yeah." And he went, "Good." Like that was the sex talk with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad, like when I had my first period, there wasn't a talk. I got suspended from school and I got sent home. And the excuse I used for skipping class was I'm on my period. And so they told my dad, they were just like, she said she was skipping class because she just got her period. And it was like her first time. It was like my second or third time, but I lied because I didn't want to get suspended.
Well, still new.
Got suspended anyway. And he literally, we're driving home and he's silent. He's like lecturing me on how like I'm throwing my life away from skipping class. And then he goes, "Are you on your period?" I was just like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay."
When that story started, I thought you got suspended for having a period. I was like, "Oh, God,
I thought you got suspended for having sex.
No. I was terrified of penises. I was very sexually forward because I was also very sexually afraid. I would talk about sex a lot, but I wouldn't do anything.
Interesting.
Because I was very like nervous. And so I figured that if I scared boys away with being very sexually like open, that I would, be able to take my time.
That's like the opposite of my move, where I'm like, I am a sexless being. And people are like, I'll fuck you right now.
I mean, it does work. If like a dude's like, I've just never found a girl who knew what to do. I don't know. Yeah, you kind of if you feign ignorance, I think women are like, I'll show him the way.
If we can bounce back, I have a good sequel / parent sex story. I got distracted because Neil nodded like he like approved. So my college ex, another sequel. She cheated on me extensively and we still ended up back together. So that's how cool I am. I've got it together. But so like I think I found out about the cheating. We were like on and off after that. And at one point she was at my parents' house with me and it was my mom and her alone in the kitchen. My mom's like, "So are you guys back together or just fucking?"
Oh my God.
So I love your mom.
Yeah,
your mom's got the same energy as my mom.
For someone that didn't give me a sex talk, she's very direct and open about sex stuff now as an adult. It's kind of weird.
Is it too weird? Do you get weirded out when your mom talks to you about? Does she talk to you about sex? I guess is really the question.
She doesn't really talk to me about sex, but she can be forward. Well, oh God. I just remembered she asked me about a first date, and she likes to like, you guys. But the one time she phrased it as, did you get nummies? And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Oh,
Never say that again. Just ask if I fucked. Just ask that. But she recently asked, asked if I hooked up on a first date, and I was like, yeah. She's like, you little slut. Who are you? What is this? Also, this is way better than nummies. Never.
Wait, do your parents ever probe you about sex?
No. No, they never probe me about. My dad sometimes is like, how's your friend? And he could be talking about anybody. I think that's his way of asking if I'm dating somebody. Yeah. My dad's very accepting or whatever, but I don't think he has no curiosity. He does not want to hear about it.
What about your siblings?
My siblings?
Yeah.
My older sister, Vanessa, the last time we talked about it, she told me that I really should get a boyfriend.
Damn. Whoa.
That was her.
You really? Was it with judgment or with love?
Oh, with both. She's half Colombian.
Yeah.
So she's caught with political violence. She lives in Miami. She's
used to like, you need a man to protect
extremely, but tough.
Yeah.
She's tough. She's no nonsense, no bullshit.
Oh,
He's like, you need to get a boyfriend. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take that under advice. Thank you so much. I'll get a boyfriend. She's super cool.
She doesn't need to get anything. She's fucking in charge of herself.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then my younger sister, we talk about stuff, so she knows all about my dating life and not my sex life. I'm not like dying to tell her about like.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the guy that my weed dealer who I was going to bring up to meet my family. Almost did not. Thank God I didn't fucking bring him up because we got into a huge fight about Joe Biden. He told me to kill myself. He blocked me on everything.
Jesus, what an intense fucking reaction.
Kindness to strangers.
Is that a cultural thing to bring your weed dealer to meet your family?
No, he was fucking.
I know. I've listened to the podcast about your weed dealer.
Yeah, that's the saga of the fucking weed dealer. Yeah, man, and that's what I'm dealing with right. And that's what I'm dealing with right now is that we were hooking up and I know this is a lot, and I used to tell him all the time. He'd complain to me because he wanted to hook up more than twice a week, and I would tell him, I was like, "You are the most blown man in America. You cannot fucking complain. We're twice a week where we're hooking up
in the most." Oh wait.
And so we went from like twice a week to 0 times a week, and now I'm a fucking Deary schedule monthly.
Well, honestly, still great.
Yeah, and I still got my monthly in, so I'm like, I'm okay.
I've got my monthly scheduled. I'm like, I've got a date in a week from now because, and this is how anal I am about my fucking schedule, is that I make sure that if I'm getting laid during ovulation so that I'm at my prettiest and feel sexiest. And I make sure that we get dinner or drinks before.
Nice.
I want to make an event of it.
Yeah.
I want to feel wined and dined before I'm 69. Yeah.
That's the thing too, is like apps, like there's all these gay apps that you can hook up on. And like I found that it's just not that's rewarding because you show up at the door and that's it. Time to get hard and come. It's like it's right away.
Oh my God.
I like a little
Chub Hub.
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. Yes, sure.
You can have that. Use that.
Yeah, Chub Hub.
Little game material.
You have to do that while you can use that little your game bits.
Okay.
Sorry.
You fucking drag it.
So you like a little bit. I love Straggit. Oh my God. I think it's incredible. I heard it and died and came back to life. I was Jesus for 5 seconds because of Straggit. It was incredible. But anyway, so yeah, I want a little fucking pomp and circumstance.
Yes. A little sexual tension.
Make me feel special. Make me feel pretty. Because I'll get pretty if you make me feel like getting pretty.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what about you? Does it matter? Like, do you need to be winding down, or are you just ready to go?
Consistency for me to have any method. Every time I end up having sex, it feels like, how did we get? What is this? I'm actually due. The last one was exactly July 4th. It's August 4th.
Wow. You checked it. Oh,
I'm due.
Fireworks.
You're due. There you go.
I'm due, yeah.
Yeah, mine was a month ago. I was in town for my grandpa's birthday. And I will say, you know what? I was a little upset because he texted me and he was just like, you want to go get like a crepe or something? And I was like, that's nice. This could be like a date. And then instead we got in the Uber and then we're just going to his place. And I was like, but then he pulled out a bottle of wine and I was like, you know what? Well, that's nice. This is like half whining and dining. This is the whining part. There's no eating, but he'll eat later. But yeah, no, I like I like an excuse to get a little dolled up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Romance is dead.
Romance is dead. I'm sorry. If I'm hooking up with you, let's pretend we're not for 2 hours. Let's pretend it's not inevitable for 2 hours.
Right.
And just play at this game a little. The last time I have made out since I've gotten laid. And I was pissed off because we like made out and he was like, all right, you want to come in? And I was like, no. No, we're just making out for like a quick second. And that's it. And now I'm going to go home because this is, we're walking home from work. So no.
Okay.
No, so we're not going to make out. I mean, we're not going to fuck.
No sequel there, huh?
No. Give me a little, let me think it might not happen. Let me believe that it's my choice that it is happening.
He's listening. Play your cards right. You got it.
Yeah. Be smart about it.
I'm looking at the camera too much. Am I doing this bit too many times now?
No, look in the camera. It's very fun.
So much potential for sequels if you're listening, watching.
Yeah.
I like a nice, cheeky little break the fourth wall.
If you fuck any of us, you can come back at any point.
Honestly, yeah, in a joke or otherwise.
Yeah.
I do have one. I'll put a plea out there. There's a Croatian man somewhere out there. He's some kind of academic, and I met him in Rehoboth. We were staying in the same set of buildings. We had Airbnbs in separate apartments, and we met on the grinders. And
nice.
And we hooked up 5 times over the course of the night. And he was one of the funniest people I have ever met in my entire life. There's just something about the Eastern European sense of humor. It's so nihilistic and borderline evil. It's just you've seen the horrors and you're cracking jokes and it was probably the best. I would say hands down the best night of D that I've had ever. Yeah. So
ever. When was this?
This was a couple summers ago. I was doing some comedy shows in Rehoboth. I am a working comic.
At Alejandro is the great.
Who books that? What is we have?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I heard Rehoboth. I was like, I got family down there. I would love to go down and do a show.
Drag queen, Christina something or other, used to do a comedy and drag show.
I was pleasantly surprised. I've got Southern Delaware family that we don't talk politics because they live in Southern Delaware, but we have bridged that big question. Are you voting for Trump or Kamala? And I think they're voting Kamala. And it was a nice little moment because I was like, did you watch the debates came up? We never talk politics. And she was like, yeah, I watched the debates. It was real hard to see Biden struggle, but I have a lot of hope now. And I was like, me too. Who do you have hope for? And she was like, I just think we have a much stronger candidate. I was like, we do. And I just, so vindicating. Although if she watches this and then calls me and it's just by the way, I'm still voting Trump. I'd be so disappointed.
You think your conservative family members are watching your sex podcasts?
I have one cousin that I definitely know watches. And I think because we've always been very competitive and we've chosen very different life paths. And so I think now that we're no longer competing in such a direct way, he's a little more proud of me, which is kind of nice. And I'm proud of him. I think he's done an incredible, he's got this lovely wife and he has a career and everything. They have a house. They're great. And he waited until he was 29 to get married, which in Southern Delaware is unheard of. So and I think he watches, and I think one of my other cousins watches, but the other two, I think, couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, sorry, that was fresh. That felt fresh. I was like, I doubt conservative people are listening to fun sex podcasts.
No, they're very horny. So, yeah. I bet that, you know what? I bet they watch angrily, and they're just like, I can't believe they're just talking about it out in the open like this.
They're listening really close to Alejandro.
but yeah, no. Anyway, I would love to go down to do comedy in Rehoboth. Also, Rehoboth guys, when you find the straight ones, so cute.
Keep that in mind.
You just gotta sift through a little bit.
Yeah. Especially since it's a lot of incognito because you see just beachy curls and you're like, hello, and they're like, hey, and you're like, damn it, foiled again by the sick tan bodies. Anyway.
I want to go to the beach.
Yeah,
a beach house.
I think it would be so fun if one summer, 5 comics just instead of being in Philly for the summer, why not rent a beach house for a month in Rehoboth and just do a bunch of shows down there?
I don't think any comedians have enough money to do that.
I was going to say, if we pulled it together, we might be able to make 1 week.
As a Wawa employee, I can just transfer to a Wildwood Beat Wawa for
oh my
the
God.
summer, which I always wanted to do because I worked for Wawa as a teen and in my 20s and still in my 30s. But actually, on that note, that's kind of perfect. Sequel, I worked for a while for years, left for a new job, and then I work at Wawa again. So sequel, that's the theme of my life is
sequels.
Not knowing my worth and crawling back to
you better learn your worth because you are.
I need some more worth.
You need. Yo, you and me both. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm constantly just like, I don't deserve to be in a couple. I'm just a lone wolf. I take myself out of the running more than I ever crawl back to things. I'm just like, I have a intense feeling and just inkling that I'm unlovable, so I don't put myself in the situation. This is got
too real.
I mean,
anyway.
That's me on dating apps right now, where every person I see, I just come up with an excuse why we're not compatible. I'm like, she wouldn't like this about me. She wouldn't like this about. So like, they're like, I'm a foodie, and I'm like, I'm like a chicken tenders and fries person. So you.
Wait, hold on. Sidebar, just to maybe make it light again. Do you get your nails polished? Because you have beautiful nails.
No, I just keep them clean and short. Thank you.
Like a good lesbian.
On a positive, fun note, though, full circle sequel adoption is.
We're really trying.
I have.
It's happy again.
I found my biological family, and I did not want to meet them, so they didn't get a sequel.
Wow!
Damn.
Yeah, I'll show them.
Shots fired. Wait, hold on. What's your big thing that keeps you out of a relationship, Alejandro?
Yeah. I'm trying to evaporate.
Just morph into the couch.
I insist on cultivating unrequited crushes. Not on you, Deary. I know Deary thinks I have a crush on him.
I mean, who doesn't? You're like
all I know is that I was on pen and paper one of the most crushed on comedians in Philadelphia comedy. And that I know that they were not all. So the person that took that poll
really slims the pool when there's like 2 gay comics in Philadelphia right now.
So there's a Philly comic took a poll of like, hey, everyone share your crushes with me. I will not tell anyone. They're safe with me. Unless 2 people crush each other, then I will set you guys up.
Yeah, but then you posted those wrestling pictures of yourself from college.
I don't know. She didn't give me. She just told me that I had.
Rachel immediately is like, this could involve me somehow. This could be about me.
I know. I've been working on it.
We were talking about what my fatal flaw and why I cannot be in a relationship, but I've just been informed that we ran out of time. It's time to wrap up the show. We're going to say goodbye. Thank you so much, John Deary, for being our guest on We're Dating.
Thank you so much,
we didn't even get to Rachel's fatal flaw.
No, wait, my fatal flaw? Honey, there are so many. Where do we begin? Woo! That's a whole other episode. We should have an episode, just what's wrong with us? It's just the 2 of us, self-reflective.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's going to be a 4-hour episode or a 20-minute episode because our fatal flaw is we can't admit it to ourselves.
All right, John Deary, for all the people out in the world who have a crush on you, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, they know exactly where to find you. Already found. No, at Instagram, OOH_Deary, DEARY, Oh Deary. It's like that, making fun of that phrase, oh dear.
Okay.
My name is not Oh Deary. Multiple comedians who have introduced me as John O'Deary. not an Irish comedian. But when does this drop? Can I plug stuff?
It drops in a month.
A weeks, yeah.
In a month?
Yeah, because the next one is Hannah. That's this Wednesday, and then the one after that. What?
Too much intel. He's like, I gotta edit around this.
Okay, yeah, it's in a month. You're dropping in a month. What else? What do you got,
guys? I'm excited. In September, I've got awesome things coming up. Ooh. In September. September 21st, you can catch me hosting at Helium for our friend Pearl Mania.
Oh, yay. That's a really good one. That's a really good one.
And then that night, you can find me at Next in Line. 2 clubs, 1 day. 2 shows with Betty Smithsonian for Betty and Friends. And then that Sunday, another show with Perlman.
Damn.
It's exciting. That's going to be a bumping weekend.
Looks busy and blessed. So we're dating now. What's up, boyfriend?
Yeah, it was overdue.
Bye.
You know what is an amazing idea, Rachel?
What's an amazing idea?
Liking and subscribing.
Oh my God, you're very, very right.
To us.
To us at we.r.datingpod on Instagram, and you can find us under that on YouTube as well.
That's right. That's we.r.datingpod, and that's the letter R.
Yeah, that was my bad.
You'll figure it out.
Hey, how you doing? This is Neil Wood, one of the co-owners of Drop 10 Media Network and who helps run Biggest Little Comedy. You can check out all the other stuff we do at drop10.com. We've got podcasts, live comedy shows, and so much more. Go over there, support your favorite podcasts, follow them, subscribe. We appreciate it. Again, we're 100% DIY, just a bunch of creatives trying to make it in this, and give us some feedback. We always enjoy a little feedback. Thanks.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.